Hi everyone. Just want to get with you and give you feedback about the assignments from last time and also just kind of review what's coming up for Thursday. I'm going to try to do this every time, create a short video for you to give you very direct feedback. Um, I also, so you were to watch some videos and you were also to watch some videos that I made this time around. So some lecture videos. On the lecture videos, there's a place where you can write comments. Please feel free to write comments and questions and I'll address them in future videos. Also, some of you all got confused and asked about textbook chapter 1. There will be 2 entries that will look very similar on Canvas, and one is the calendar and the other one is the participation grade. And some of you were looking at the participation grade rather than the calendar. Please, when you want to look at the content that's due for that day, look at the calendar entry, okay? Normally I'd sync it all up, but I haven't had time due to COVID. So look at the calendar entry. I gave you all participation grades for Monday, and they were based on whether you watched all of the lecture videos. And I can tell who watches what, okay? Because Canvas records that. I want to say a few things about the discussion post. Some people got 10 points out of 10. A couple people got less than that. There is a rubric. Look the rubric over, and if you got less than 10 points, be sure to look and see what you were missing. I want you to get all 10s the whole way through the semester, but it may take a time or two before you figure out the format of it. So if you're missing points, please look, see why you're missing them so you can correct it for next time. Let me mention down here, Thursday, you have an article about Winnicott. We're going to launch into our first theory of psychology that we're going to apply to all the sexual phenomena. So you have an article plus a short video, and then 2 discussion posts due, and I'll go over those in class on Thursday. So as far as the discussion posts go, I'm going to look at your responses, make sure everybody's on track, and if I see some questions I want to answer, I will answer them in class. I'm going to do that on this video right now. The first discussion post was about Roman culture and how was it compared to today? Was it freer? And most people said that yes, it was a good deal freer, but the Mary Beard nuance was that it was really only freer if you were a man and you were wealthy. It was not freer if you were a slave, if you were poor, or if you were a woman. For adult men who are wealthy, they could do pretty much anything. They could rape somebody and be okay. They could have sex outside of marriage. They could have a homosexual relationship. They could hang porn. They could hang erotic art on their walls, and all of that was okay. One of the questions that somebody asked was there a particular age where it became acceptable for boys to have sex with older men? In general, it was the age right before puberty. It was the age before, once you had started getting a beard and secondary sex characteristics, you were no longer considered a boy. It wasn't very young boys, though. It wasn't 6 and 7-year-olds. It tended to be prepubescent, like 13-year-old boys who were in these pederasty relationships. On the other discussion post, what I want to say about that is that the post asked were there similarities between Victorian age and the present, and most of you all picked out several similarities, and there are a lot you could have said. I wrote here dualism, just this sort of schizophrenic kind of idea that people probably performed a lot of wacky behaviors under the sheets with the lights off, but they weren't allowed to talk about any of it. So what was publicized versus what actually happened were 2 very different things. A lot was taboo. Like today, there was a sexual double standard where men had more sexual freedom than women. Dress codes really come from the Victorian era. This idea that women should cover up parts of their bodies. And Victorians were masters at covering up all of women's bodies. One question I want to address is somebody said, what about other cultures like Asia? This class is always going to stick to Western culture. When we start getting outside of Western culture, and mostly Europe and the US, um, things become quite different. There's a lot of really interesting stuff if you go into other cultures, even just like looking at the Kama Sutra is fascinating, but there's just so many differences it's impossible to put in this class. So we're going to focus on Europe and the U.S. So that's all I want to say. I look forward to seeing you all on Thursday.